Hello, John Corain from RTE here. The unionists say they want to be treated the same, and it's to both leader. They want to be treated the same as any other part of the UK. However, Northern Ireland is the only part of the UK that shares a land border with the EU. So there will have to be some differences for Northern Ireland compared to the rest of the UK. Do you believe the unionists will accept different treatment? And can you point to how, for instance, the European Court of Justice will have jurisdiction in Northern Ireland?
Do you want me to take that first, Ursula? I'll just echo what I just said, John, actually, about, yes, of course, politics matters, and parties in Northern Ireland, unionist communities, will want to take the time to consider what we've announced today, digest the detail, and we should give them the time and the space to do that. But if you focus on people, on families, on communities, on businesses, I think people will see that the framework we've agreed today delivers significant improvements in almost every aspect of their lives that have seen disruption and challenge from the protocol. And that is something that I think can be celebrated and recognised, and that benefit will start coming very quickly. Now, there are a range of things that I heard when I talked to communities in Northern Ireland, and because of the breadth and the comprehensive nature of this framework, and you heard some of it in my remarks earlier, I think we're addressing all those practical challenges and indeed safeguarding sovereignty as well. And I know that's something that's particularly important to communities in Northern Ireland. With regard to the role of EU law, to recognise that with the consent of people in Northern Ireland has access to the single market, and I think we all collectively share an ambition to avoid, as you say, a hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic. And that's why there's a role for EU law in Northern Ireland, but that happens with consent, and as a result of the agreements that we've reached today, there is further democratic accountability of that role of EU law with the new Stormont break, which provides a very powerful mechanism for the Stormont institution to use when it has concerns. And I think that is really important part of correcting the democratic deficit that existed and providing reassurance to everyone in Northern Ireland that they are in control of their own destiny.
Yes, indeed, the European Court of Justice is the sole and ultimate arbiter of EU law. That's natural because it's prescribed by the EU legal order. So the ECJ will have the final say on EU law and single market issues. But we have, in this Windsor framework, worked hard on the rules that existed before, not only the ECJ on EU law, but also the arbitration panel on not EU laws. And this includes the new Stormont break, which is based on the petition of concern that comes from the Good Friday Agreement. So we have built on this peace process the next step. We've kind of leveled up or improved the overall mechanism. I think important is in our Windsor framework that we are putting also in place several mechanisms that should avoid having to resort to the Stormont break, which is an emergency mechanism. So extensive consultations with the UK and Northern Ireland stakeholders on new EU laws, but also consultations of the EU by the UK on UK planned regulatory changes. This is important for us. And with view on Ireland, of course, there has always been the full commitment, and there is the full commitment of the European Union to safeguard the Belfast Good Friday Agreement in all its dimensions, no hard border on the island of Ireland, and of course that we fully protect the integrity of the EU single market.